All right, in lessons 14C and D, we're going to look at using formulas again. This time we're going to look at using the formula to estimate blood alcohol content. Blood alcohol content is a measurement of how much alcohol is in someone's blood. It's usually measured as a percentage. So a blood alcohol content of 0.3% is 3/10 of 1%. That is, there are 3 grams of alcohol for every 1,000 grams of blood. A BAC of 0.05% impairs reasoning and the ability to concentrate. A BAC of 0.30% can lead to a blackout, shortness of breath, and loss of bladder control. In most states, the legal limit for driving is a blood alcohol content of 0.08%. I think that that's a lot lower limit and a lot fewer drinks than many people realize. Blood alcohol content is usually determined by a breathalyzer, urinalysis, or blood test. However, Swedish physician E.M.P. Widmark developed the following equation for estimating an individual's blood alcohol content. This formula is widely used by forensic scientists. So in this formula, B, there's our B, that is the percentage of blood alcohol content. Our next variable, T, is the number of hours since the first drink. When you're drinking, over time, your body will metabolize that alcohol in your blood, but it takes time. N, right there, N is the number of standard drinks. A standard drink is 1 12-ounce beer, 1 5-ounce glass of wine, or 1 1.5-ounce shot of liquor. And that's the amount of liquor that is in a normal-sized mixed drink. If you order the great big jumbo margarita, you're going to get more than 1.5 ounces of liquor in it. So you need to make sure that this is a standard-sized drink. W is the person's weight. You divide by the weight. A heavy person will have a lower blood alcohol content for the same amount of drinking as a more petite person. And then finally, there is also a gender constant. The gender constant is 0.68 for men and 0.55 for women. There is truth to the fact that men can drink more than women. If you had a man and a woman, they both weighed 150 pounds, the woman will get drunk sooner. So there's our formula. It says, look at the right side of the equation. How do the variables and their location make sense in calculating blood alcohol content? Well, first of all, one thing that's interesting here is this is the part that's related to time. Notice this is negative. The more time passes, the less your blood alcohol content will be. Okay. This part here, you can see that as N gets larger, the more drinks you have, the higher this blood alcohol content will be. However, you're dividing by your weight times the gender constant. Let's not talk too much about the gender constant because it is a fixed number, either 0.68 or 0.55. But the more you weigh, the lower your blood alcohol content will be. Consider the case of a male student who has 5 beers and weighs 180 pounds. Simplify the equation as much as possible for this case. What variables are still unknown in the equation? So, we don't know the time frame, so that will stay a variable. But we do know that he has 5 beers, so multiply by 5. We know he weighs 180 pounds, and the gender constant for a man is 0.68. So we can simplify all of this. So And this all simplifies to 0.116. So the only variables that are left are the time and the blood alcohol content. Notice 0.116, if he chugged 5 beers all at once and no time had passed by, this is clearly greater than that legal limit of 0.08. It says using your simplified equation, find the estimated blood alcohol content for this student 1, 3, and 5 hours after his first date. This should say 5 right here. 1, 3, and 5 hours. So our formula, negative 0.015 for 1 hour it gives us a blood alcohol of 0.101. So definitely impaired. That's definitely more than that legal limit. After 3 hours, you have a little more time. That's going to help process some of that alcohol. Now we get 0.071. This is underneath the legal limit, so that's good. He's still buzzed. You still have some disability in terms of concentration and other things, even at about 0.05. So he's in much better shape, but he may still be feeling some of the effects. Now, after 5 hours, he's down to sorry about that. 0.041, so much better shape in 5 hours. It says record the sequence of steps you took to get from time to blood alcohol. Skip that. Let's move on. Balancing blood alcohol. Here's our same formula that we had in the previous lesson. They haven't changed anything. It says find the simplified formula for the 180-pound male who drank 5 beers. What sequence of steps did you take to determine his blood alcohol content after 3 hours? Be specific about operations used. Well, in this case, once we had this formula, first thing that we did according to order operations is this gets multiplied first. Oh, this is 0.015. So we end up with negative 0.045. You may have done it all in one step with your calculator, plus 0.116. That gives us that 0. If I do negative 0.045 plus 0.116, that was 0.071. So we did the multiplying and then we did the addition. If we came way over here to simplify, we had to multiply this together, then multiply this together, and then divide to get this simplified formula. It says, how long will it take for this student's blood alcohol to be 0.08 or the legal limit? So we're going to kind of work backwards. We have a situation where we want his blood alcohol to be 0.08. and that equals negative 0.15 t plus 0.116. We're trying to solve for t, or to get this t by itself. Okay, we have to go through some reverse operations. I want to get rid of this. I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to subtract 0.116 from both sides. If I do 0.08 minus 0.116, I get negative 0.036 equals negative 0.15 t. Okay, now I'm still trying to get this t by itself. If something's multiplying, the way you're going to do multiplication is you divide. So I'm going to divide by 0.15. Notice I'm dividing by the negative because there is a negative, and I want that negative gone too. This is going to cancel out. This side is just going to be t. Negative 0.036 divided by negative 0.015 comes out to be exactly 2.4 hours. So, remember, he was under the legal limit at 3 hours, and this tells us it should take about 2.4 hours. How long will it take for the alcohol to be completely metabolized, resulting in a blood alcohol of 0? So in this case, we're using that same formula. 0 equals negative 0.015 t plus 0.116. Again, we're going to work backwards. If I'm trying to get this by itself, two things are being done. It's being multiplied by negative 0.015, and then we have this added 0.116. We need to get rid of this added 0.116, so I subtract it from both sides. It's like balancing a scale. Anything I do to one side, I do to the other side. This side gives me negative 0.116. These will go away. 0.116 minus 0.1, that's 0. And I get negative 0.15 t. Now I look and go, oh, I still am trying to get this by itself. Let me divide. So I'm going to divide by negative 0.15. When I do negative 0.116 divided by negative I left out the 0 here. Let me just erase real quick. I've got an error and I don't want anybody to. Okay. Let's go back. This was negative 0.116 equals negative 0.015 t. Okay. I'm going to erase the whole problem just because I feel like it looks confusing, and I want us to be really clear on what we're doing here. So I'm going to start with this. I want the blood alcohol to be 0. So 0 equals negative 0.15. Do it again. Keep trying to put the decimal in the wrong place here. Negative 0.015 t plus 0.116. Anytime you're trying to get a variable on one by itself, in this case, you're trying to get this t by itself, you want anything that has the t to be on one thing and everything that doesn't to be on the other. So what I think I'll do this time is let's add this to both sides. Think of this as being like a scale. I'm just add this side after I add that is going to be 0.015t. Here's my equal sign. I drew that red line right through the middle. And this goes away. That's 0. This just comes out to be 0.116. I need to get t by itself, so I need to divide by 0.015. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other side. After I divide this side, that will cancel. It's just t equals 0.116 divided by 0.015 is 7.73 hours. So it's going to take him a long time to completely get that beer out of his system. 2.4 hours to be sober enough to drive, but close to 8 hours before it's completely metabolized. A female student weighing 110 pounds plans on going home in 2 hours. Determine this student's simplified formula. So her simplified formula we know the time this time. That's different. We know time and we know weight. So let's fill in the time as well. What we don't know is how many drinks she had, but her weight was 110. The gender constant for a female is 0.55. So we can clean this up a little bit. Negative 0.03 plus 2.84n over 60.5. So this, we can even simplify this a little bit more. We can go ahead if we want and divide that. 2.84 divided by 60.5. And I get a formula that looks like plus 0.0469n. Could probably, if I wanted to go ahead, it's almost rounds up enough to say, look, it's about 0.047n. So that's a pretty simple formula. And you can see that the more she drinks, the higher that blood alcohol content is going to be after 2 hours. They kept the 0.0469, so we'll keep it like that. If she has 1 glass of wine right now, in 2 hours from now, what will her blood alcohol be? So negative 0.03 plus 0.0469. And that comes out to be 0.0169. So well below the 0.08. She's in good shape. What if she has 3 glasses? Negative 0.03 plus 0.0469 times 3. That's not going to be near as good a shape. She's going to be at 0.1107. That is much greater than 0.08. So if she has 3 glasses of wine, she's not going to be able to drive in 2 hours. If she only has 1 glass of wine, she should be okay. It says calculate an estimate of how many drinks she can have to keep her blood alcohol at less than 0.08. So if she wants this to be 0.08 or less, and this is negative 0.03 plus 0.0469n. Again, we have to go through our algebra. We're going to try to get the n all by itself. First thing we're going to do is get rid of this. Notice this has a negative, so we're going to add 0.03 to both sides. When we do that, we're going to get 0.11 equals the negative 0.03 and the plus 0.03 cancel out. Those are those inverse operations. 0.0469n. So now to get the n by itself, we will divide. That's going to go away. This side is just plain old n. 0.11 divided by 0.0469 comes out to be 2.3. So she probably should stick to 2 glasses of wine before she tries to leave. And that concludes this video.